Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing the mid-year freakout book tag. Like, I cannot believe it's already halfway through the year and I'm so behind on my reading challenge. But that's besides the point. I just really wanted to share some of my favorite books with you and some of my not so favorite books. So I thought this would be the perfect tag. I believe this tag was created by Chammy and Elle, and I will put both of their channels down below with links to their videos if you want to check that out. So yeah, let's just get right on into the questions. So the first question is the best book you've read so far in 2017. For this one, I have to go with The Mothers by Britt Bennett. This book just blew me away. I was absolutely just engrossed with this book. It's very simple, like the plot, there's not a lot that happens, but the character development is so strong in this book. I just absolutely loved it. So basically, this follows a young girl named Nadia, and it goes through like the course of her life, starting off kind of as she's graduating high school and then on to her 30s. So it covers a large span of her life, but in a very short book. But essentially, she's dealing with the aftermath of her mother committing suicide, and she kind of attaches to this guy that used to be a football player at her high school, and due to an injury during a game was unable to play and kind of stuck around in this small town. So they kind of grow this connection, and it kind of just explores their relationship and the issues that they deal with over the next, I would say, 10 to 20 years. So it's really interesting. I absolutely enjoyed it. I think it's a good portrayal of like African American culture, and it also does a great job of like just showing church culture in general. There's a very strong theme of being religious and growing up in church in this book, and I think the characters are amazing. The story was amazing. Would just highly recommend this book all together. Just great. And the second question is the best sequel I have read in 2017. I haven't read any sequels yet. Those are on my list to complete. So yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that one. The third question is new release that you have heard of but have not read yet. For this one, I'm gonna go with Among the Sticks and Bones from Seanan McGuire, and this book just came out and I'm really excited to check it out. Like, I cannot wait for this book. It's just, the first book was Every Heart a Doorway. I have like a short review and one of my wrap-ups on that, so I will put it up above. And I just absolutely adored that book, so I'm really excited to see what comes next in this like story, in this world. So yeah, that's definitely what I'm most excited about. Number 4 is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And for this one, I'm going with The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin. This is the third and I believe final book in the Broken Earth trilogy. And I've loved the first 2 books. I believe I gave both of them 4, if not 5 out of 5 stars. And I'm just excited to kind of see what comes next. And I'm just adore all the characters. So yeah, I think this comes out sometime in August. The fourth question is the biggest disappointment so far. And for this one, I'd have to say Bird and Sword by Amy Harmon. I have a wrap up where I kind of like talk about this book, so I don't really want to go into too much detail, but it was not for me. The romance was just very borderline abuse, like borderline verbal abuse, and it was just not my cup of tea. Did not enjoy this book at all. Number 6 is the biggest surprise of the year so far. And for this one, I'd have to say Three Dark Crowns by Kendar Blake. I know this book was really hyped on BookTube, but I didn't want to come into it with a lot of expectations because I was afraid I would get disappointed, but pleasantly this book really surprised me. I loved how complex the characters were. The plot was very intriguing and engaging, and it just brought something new to the YA world that I haven't seen a lot, and I really enjoyed it. And number 7 is newest favorite author, debut, or new to you, and I'm gonna go with Mozid Hamid for this one. He's not a debut author, and the most, but he's kind of new to me. I kind of got into him by picking up Exit West, and this book is like absolutely amazing. I would recommend it to anyone who's kind of just looking for something a little different. This book kind of follows two characters that are in like in a romantic relationship during like the fall and the kind of internal turmoil that goes on in their city, and they escape and exit west, obviously, to find refuge in other countries. And it has a lot of hints of what's going on in Syria, and it's a very interesting story, and I really enjoyed it. There's some surrealism elements to it that I was not expecting, but also really enjoyed as well. And I'm just curious to see what other stuff he's written, and like, I think his writing is really beautiful. It's very captivating and beautiful, but he does a really good job about talking about like very gruesome or disturbing kind of topics as well. So I'm just interested in him and I want to read more. Number 8 is Newest Fictional Crush, and I really haven't had any like fictional crushes. This was like really big when I was younger in high school. I really was like into fictional characters, but typically now I'm crushing on anybody. But if I'd have to go with someone, I would pick Renee from Rook by Sharon Cameron. He was just a very interesting, snarky character, and I think I just really enjoyed him. So hey, I would totally crush on him and date him if he was a real character. So yeah, that's who I'm going with for this one. Number 9 is Newest Favorite Character, and this one's also really hard. I definitely would have to say the queens from The Three Dark Crowns, specifically Arisno. She was just really a complex character, and I love how like her story kind of evolves throughout the book. So definitely all three of the queens, Mirabella, Catherine, Arisno, they were really amazing characters, but particularly Arisno has been my favorite, and I cannot wait to see how her story plays out in the next book. And number 10 is The Book That Made You Cry, and for this one I'm going with Hidden Figures by Margaret Lee Shetlery. This book was just very inspirational. As an African American, it's great being able to see these stories like come to light. And if you're not familiar, Hidden Figures is kind of like, it's nonfiction, but it's talking about these African American females that worked at NASA who played a huge role in putting people into space and putting the first man on the moon. So it's just about these mathematicians that kind of were doing stuff during this time period and kind of making huge strides that people really didn't know was happening at the time. This book made me very emotional in the fact that these were stories I never heard of, and they made such a huge impact on NASA during this time that it's like crazy that we're just hearing about these stories now. Just the strength that these women had was just so amazing that this book just made me very emotional. And the movie also, I was like just bawling throughout the entire movie, but yeah. And number 11, The Book That Made You Happy. For this one I have to go with Hidden Figures as well. As while it still made me very emotional, I'm just so happy that this book is out in the world and that people are enjoying it and reading it, and yeah, I'm just so happy about that. Number 12 is The Most Beautiful Book You Have Bought or Received This Year, and for this one I'm going with Beauty and the Beast, and this is an illustrated version by Minalima. Just look at how beautiful this cover is. Like, it's illustrated inside as well, and it's got like interactive features to it. It's just all around. Oh, drop some stuff. Okay, it's just all around a beautiful book. The last question, number 13. What books do you still need to read by the end of the year? And I could go on forever with this list, but I really want to get to Station 11. I'm currently reading The Last Days of Magic, which I'm going to finish, but I really wanted to read that one this year as well. There's some sequels I want to read. I want to read the second book of the Queen of the Tearling series. I have all 3 books of The Red Queen, and I have just a ton of books that I've gotten from Book of the Month that I want to read. It's just a lot of books, so yeah, I will keep you updated on that as always. And yeah, I really enjoyed doing this tag. It was a lot of fun. It kind of showed me I need to like up my game in the next half of the month. But thanks again for watching. Let me know what was your favorite book so far this year. I'd love to hear what you guys are reading and what has been the best books for you. Maybe I'll pick them up, who knows. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!